a fallen queen, a silent king, and a secret that has been eating her alive for 3 years. Olorishedu is back from the great Onifa's healing home, but she didn't return to her throne. She returned to the floor. Imagine the shock as she held Queen Naomi's legs, weeping like a child and confessing to a 3-year-old script of betrayal. A prayer for my crown guest friends and families. I pray for you today. May every tongue rising against you in secret be silenced forever. May every evil contract signed against your destiny be torn to pieces. And may you find favor where others find shame. Amen. What a gone, my Crown Gist friends and families. You are welcome to Crown Gist, the only place where the secrets of the palace are saved hot and fresh. If you love the truth and you haven't subscribed yet, you are missing too much. Hit that subscribe button right now and join the inner circle for more exclusive updates. We have deep respect for the Yoruba culture and the traditions of the land of the Golden Crown. Because of this, we use special fictional names for certain people and sacred rituals. If you stay with us and keep watching, you will understand these names and the story perfectly. The wind blowing through the land of the Golden Crown today carries the scent of a broken spirit. For 90 days, the palace was silent, and the name of Olorishedu was spoken only in whispers. She had been sent away to the great Onifa's healing home, a place where the mind is stripped bare and the truth is forced out. Many thought she would never return, but the reports we are getting say she is back, not with the shakara of a queen, but with the heavy chains of humility. My Crown Gist friends and families, you need to understand the weight of this moment. When Olorishedu left the healing home, she didn't go to see her friends or look for her expensive clothes. She went straight to the palace. She went there because the shame she was carrying was heavier than any crown. People are disappointed, yes, when a woman who always claims to love and care is revealed to be the character behind so much wahala. The disappointment goes deep into the soul of the people. She arrived at the chamber of the Golden King. For 3 months, this door was locked against her. She stood outside, trembling, knowing that the man inside held her life in his hands. When she was finally ushered in, the sight was enough to make anyone stop breathing. The Golden King was sitting there, his eyes like fire, and right beside him was Queen Naomi. The tension was so high, you could feel it in your bones. Olorishedu didn't wait for a greeting. She didn't wait to be asked why she was there. She dropped to the floor instantly. They said she cried for over 45 minutes straight. 45 minutes of pure agonizing weeping. It was the kind of crying that makes the throat dry and the eyes swell until they can barely see. And through it all, the Golden King did not say a single word. He just sat there, looking at her. You know that look, the look of a husband who has been pushed to the wall. A man who has heard too many lies to believe the first tear he sees. This time around, Olorishedu was not making excuses. She was not the TikTok Olori we used to see looking for camera angles. She was not blaming the servants or trying to lie her way out. She took full responsibility for the mess she had created. She looked at the floor and told the king, I don't deserve to be forgiven. I know I don't. Whatever punishment you want to give me, I am ready. My spirit is tired. My body is exhausted. I am there fighting the wrong people. She confessed that for 3 years she had been fighting a battle that was never hers to win. She told them that her real enemies were the elders of the land of the Golden Crown, those who had pressured her and trapped her with a very dangerous oath. She admitted that she was pushed to cause problems for Queen Naomi, to create wahala left, right and center, just because she was afraid of the spiritual and physical consequences the elders promised her if she refused to play along. As she poured out her heart, she looked like a woman whose soul had been squeezed dry. She told the Golden King that she wasn't asking for pity, only a chance to say the truth before she was completely finished. She spoke about the secret she had carried, the script she had been given by the elders of the land of the Golden Crown to follow, and the lies she had told just to keep her head above water. But even with all those tears, the room remained silent. Queen Naomi sat there, her face calm and graceful, watching the woman who had once tried to destroy her life. The silence was louder than any shouting. It was the silence of a palace that had seen too much betrayal. Olorishedu remained on her knees waiting for a word, a sign or even a shout from the Golden King. But none came. He sat like a mountain, immovable and cold. When she realized no answer was coming, she eventually gathered herself, her face swollen and her voice gone. She left the chamber, but her mission wasn't over. She was a woman on a desperate hunt for redemption. She knew that to truly find peace, she had to face the one she had wronged the most in private. She waited in the shadows of the palace. She watched the movement, and the moment she saw Queen Naomi leave the king's chamber to go back to her own private villa, Oluwashado moved. She entered the villa, and before the attendants could even react, she lunged forward. She didn't just stand there. She grabbed Queen Naomi's legs. She held onto them like a person drowning, weeping and begging for mercy. She told the queen to err is human, but to forgive is divine. Please, my lowest ebb, I cannot fall lower than this. This is not a manipulative sorry. This is the real me. I am tired of the lies. I am tired of the wahala. I am tired of being a tool for the elders. My crown, these friends and families, can you imagine the scene? A woman who was once so proud, now on the floor of her rival's house, begging for her life.
Friends and families. The scene inside Queen Naomi's villa was something that no filmmaker could ever script. Imagine the silence of the room, broken only by the heavy, ragged breathing of a woman who has lost everything. Olari's shadow was still there, her fingers locked around Queen Naomi's ankles, her face pressed against the floor. She wasn't just begging for a sorry, she was begging for her soul back. She began to open up about the deep wahala that has been happening behind the scenes for years. She told Queen Naomi, I know you remember how we used to be. I am not saying we should be friends again because I know I have broken the bridge of trust. I know you can never trust me for life again, and I accept that as my cross to bear. She admitted that her biggest regret wasn't just the public drama, but the way she allowed the elders of the land to turn her into a weapon against a woman who had done her no wrong. She specifically mentions the incident in Ogundaye at Dr. Elizabeth's friend's place. You remember that story, right? When someone suddenly fell sick and the whole of social media started pointing fingers at Olori's shadow? She looked up at Queen Naomi with bloodshot eyes and swore, I had nothing to do with that. It was the elders of the land. They plant these confusions and traps to make everyone look guilty while they pull the strings from the dark. She explained that she was under an oath of silence, a spiritual gag that prevented her from defending herself or telling the truth. She was the face of the evil, while the elders of the land were the heart of it. She confessed that they used her to monitor the palace, to report back on the king's moods, and to ensure that there was never peace between the royal wives. The most shocking part was when she spoke about her own child's birth. My crown gift, friends and families, this part will make your skin crawl. She admitted that all those things she said about the heir apparent and the succession lines were not her own thoughts. She said they were rehearsed lines. The elder sat her down and taught her what to say, when to say it, and how to say it to cause the maximum amount of pain to the Golden King and Queen Naomi. She said she was neck deep in the mud. By the time she realized she was in a trap, it was too late. The elders threatened her life, her family, and her future. She was living in a constant state of terror, acting out a role in a play she hated. She told the queen, I was so afraid for my life that I became a monster. But since I went to the great Onika's home, the scales have fallen from my eyes. I am exhausted. I am not fighting anymore. As she spoke, she kept squeezing Queen Naomi's legs as if she was trying to draw some of the queen's peace into her own chaotic life. She said, I would never try to enter this house again after today if you don't want me to. But I couldn't leave without letting you know that the hate you saw was a lie. I was a prisoner. The atmosphere in the villa was so heavy, you could almost hear the walls weeping. Queen Naomi, known for her grace, didn't pull her legs away harshly. She didn't shout for the guards to throw the traitor out. She just sat there, looking down at the woman who had once been her greatest nightmare. She saw the shame, she saw the humility, and she saw the total brokenness of a woman who had been chewed up and spat out by the elders of the land. Olori's shadow's voice was cracking as she mentioned that she has suffered so much herself in silence, that while people were cursing her name on the streets, she was crying in her room, trapped by an oath she didn't know how to break. But now, she says she is happy, not because she has been forgiven yet, but because she is finally free. free mentally, free from the lies, and free from the control of the elders.
The air in that villa was so thick with emotion you could almost touch it. Olori's shadow was still there, physically and spiritually drained, pouring out her heart like a broken tap. She began to explain the dark influence of the elders of the land. She told Queen Naomi that these people are not just advisors, they are like shadow masters who want to control everything that happens within the palace walls. She confessed that the elders of the land had used her vulnerability against her. They saw her fear of losing her position and they fed it with lies and spiritual threats. She told the queen, "They made me believe that you were the one coming to take everything I worked for. They whispered it in the morning and sang it in the evening until I started seeing your face in my nightmares." She admitted that the oath she took was the final nail in her coffin. It was a non-disclosure agreement that carried heavy spiritual weight. If she spoke the truth, she believed she would lose her life. This is why she was acting like a different person for 3 years. Every time she went on social media or stood in the palace courtyard to cause wahala, she was doing it to satisfy the elders of the land. She told Queen Naomi that she felt like a puppet whose strings were being pulled by invisible wicked hands. She mentioned that the elders even had spies monitoring her every move, making sure she didn't step out of line or try to make peace with the Golden King. The most heartbreaking part of her concession was when she spoke about her own peace of mind. She said, "While I was the TikTok Olori and everyone thought I was enjoying the drama, I was dying inside. I was a slave to the elders of the land." She explained that the trip to Great Onifa's healing home was the first time she had been away from their direct influence in years. It was there, in the silence of the healing home, that she realized she had lost herself completely. She told Queen Naomi that she knows the damage she caused is deep. She knows that the wahala she brought to the palace has left scars on everyone's hearts. She didn't ask for her old life back. She didn't even ask to be treated as a queen again. All she wanted, she said, was for the queen to know that the woman who attacked her was a woman under a dark spell of fear. As she held on to the queen's legs, she began to mention names of people who were part of the alliance, people who were supposed to be loyal to the Golden King but were actually working for the elders of the land. This was dangerous information, the kind of information that could shake the very foundation of the palace. She was risking everything by talking, but she told Queen Naomi that she didn't care anymore. She said, "If the elders want to take my life for talking, let them take it. At least I would die with a clean conscience." Queen Naomi listened to all of this with a calmness that was almost supernatural. She didn't interrupt. She didn't show Anya. She just watched as the once proud Onorishado turned into a heap of regret on the floor. The level of humility was something the palace had never seen before. The woman who used to shout and brag was now whispering for mercy. Olorishado even confessed that she had been instructed to plant items in the palace to cause confusion and illness, but that she couldn't go through with some of it because her conscience started to fight back. She said that was when the elders of the land started punishing her, making her life a living hell behind closed doors. By the time she finished this part of her confession, she was gasping for air, her face wet with tears and her voice almost gone.
My crown-gazed friends and families, we have reached the final stage of this royal roller coaster. After Olorishado had poured out every secret, naming names and exposing the dark plans of the elders of the land, the atmosphere in the villa changed. You could almost feel the weight of the years of wahala and gifting, but in its place was a heavy, serious reality. Olorishado was still on the floor, her face buried in her hands. She had said it all. She had exposed the rehearsed scripts, the fake social media drama, and the spiritual traps. She told Queen Naomi, "I am ready for whatever comes. If the king banishes me, I will go. If he strips me of my titles, I will accept it. I just want to sleep at night without seeing the faces of those elders threatening me." Just as she was finishing her word, a shadow fell across the entrance of the villa. My people, the heart of everyone there skipped a beat. The Golden King had come. He didn't enter with a shout or a royal fanfare. He walked in with a silence that was more terrifying than thunder. He had heard that Olorishado had gone straight to the Queen's villa, and he came to see for himself if this was another trick or a real change of heart. He stood there, tall and imposing, looking down at the woman who was still holding his wife's legs. Olorishado didn't even try to stand up. She just shifted her position on her knees to face him. The king's voice was low as he spoke. He didn't ask about the tears or the drama. He simply asked, "Is the oath broken?" Olorishado whispered, "It is broken in my heart, my king. I have told the truth. I am no longer their puppet." The king looked at Queen Naomi, searching her face for a sign. The queen, with the wisdom she is known for, finally spoke. She didn't ask for Olorishado to be punished, and she didn't ask for her to be rewarded. She simply said, "A soul that is tired cannot carry a lie forever. She has spoken." At that moment, the king made a move that shocked the attendants. He didn't pull her up, but he didn't tell her to leave neither. He told her she would remain in the palace, but not as the queen she used to be. She would live under a period of observation and total silence. No social media, no interviews, no TikTok Olori drama. Just reflection and service to the crown. Olorishado nodded so hard her head almost touched the floor again. She was happy with that. She was happy just to have a roof over her head that was controlled by the elders of the land. As she was led away by the palace guards to her quarters, the king and queen remained. The vicious circle of the last 3 years had finally been snapped, but the scars remain. My crown gives friends and families. This is where we are right now. The palace is quiet, but it's a heavy quiet. Everyone is waiting to see if the elders of the land will strike back now that their secret weapon has turned against them. But before I go, I have to remind you of something very important. Please take everything I have told you today with a grain of salt. All this information about the legs holding, the 45-minute crying, and the secret scripts are alleged and unverified rumors making the rounds on social media. We are not saying these are 100% facts. We are just bringing you the spicy gist that everyone is talking about in the land of the Golden Crown. Do not take these as official palace statements. It is all still gist for now. Thank you so much for rocking with me. You guys are the best. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video so others can join the conversation.